It's a real pleasure to join you all today. Just like almost every conference and event since March, we're meeting virtually, and it's a particularly fitting way for me to deliver my first speech as a minister. Nearly a year ago, I went on maternity leave, and when I returned to work in June, I didn't just come back to a new role, I came back to a completely different world, a world in which nearly every new professional relationship I've built has been through a computer screen, where a physical remoteness from colleagues has been replaced by what's become a bit of a strange intimacy as the office has entered my home. It's a world that's introduced vast new challenges at the same time as injecting urgency into solving old ones. The pandemic demands that each of us thinks differently about how we do things and strives to do them better. It's in this spirit that the government wishes to transform how we serve citizens. Improving our digital systems to deliver public services and using data more intelligently to tailor them is going to be critical in that task. Some of you will have seen my Cabinet Office colleague, Lord Agnew, speak at the Virtual Public Services Board meeting back in June, and Alison Pritchard of the Government Digital Service, GDS, has also held a couple of sessions to highlight GDS's role during the pandemic. I know these have been very much welcomed as ways to hear directly about how the government's been taking the enormous challenges of COVID as the spur to improve the way government services are delivered online. Some have said that the demands of the pandemic mean that now's not the time for reform. For me and for my ministerial colleagues, the opposite's actually true. It's underlined how vital reform is, particularly in how we can use the momentum provided by COVID to reduce the friction and frankly the frustration that people can experience when accessing and interacting with government services online. As Michael Gove said in his recent speech on public service, we surely know the machinery of government is no longer equal to the challenges of today. We owe change to the people we serve. So today, I hope to build on what you've heard over the summer and to give you a sense of our direction of travel in terms of reform, as well as a flavour of my own areas of focus and interest as the Cabinet Office's new Parliamentary Secretary with responsibility for GDS. The pandemic's put a spotlight on the power and potential of digital and data to inform, empower and serve our citizens. It's also put the government's digital infrastructure to the test like never before. Some things have worked really well, some things haven't. What's been striking is the unprecedented explosion in the demand for digital and online services and how fast we've scaled up existing services and built new digital products. I'm thinking of the hundreds of thousands of vulnerable people who were able to access essential support via the Vulnerable Person Service, which was built in just 4 days. I'm thinking too of the over 9 million workers who, to their huge relief, were paid wages through the furlough scheme launched by HMRC. This project was built largely on civil servants' kitchen tables and in their spare rooms. It went live with virtually no technical or scaling issues. I mean, can you imagine the outcry if it had crashed in its first hour? And it enjoyed overwhelmingly positive feedback from both workers and employers. Existing platforms and services have also risen to the challenge of extra demand. Take gov.uk. It'd normally expect to have around 19 million page views a week. In a single week during the pandemic, that increased to a record 132 million page views. This is testament to its role as the single authoritative online source of government information and services. Nearly 1 million new gov.uk verifier accounts were created in the 3 months from March 2020, enabling people to access critical government services online like universal credit. And gov.uk Notify, as Chris said, has kept millions of people updated and informed throughout the pandemic through text messages, emails or letters, and has also seen a large increase in volume with a peak of 8.6 million daily messages. This is down to the hard work of our colleagues in GDS and the digital foundations that have been built over the past 9 years since its inception. Together with teams across government and the private sector, they've helped ensure the resilience of our digital infrastructure and the delivery of new digital services at a time of huge national need, even if it hasn't kept the lights on in my office. But the last 7 months have also underlined the need for reform to ensure government services are digital by default, more personalised and more efficient. Now more than ever, the public expect the same kind of seamless service from the government's online systems as they receive from the best commercial sites like supermarkets or banks. To do that, we need to do 3 main things. First, we need to do more to put citizens at the centre of services. Systems are still far too fragmented, making it difficult to work in a joined-up way across government and deliver seamless services. Second, we need to get better at using data. COVID's shown the huge benefits and potential that come when we collect and interrogate data for analysis, insight, and for informing policymaking and providing services to the public. But too often, data is not shared effectively across departments, and that makes it harder to provide services that are centred around the user. I think we all know this has been a systemic issue across government for too many years. And third, we need to make sure the right leadership, organisational and system changes are in place to make reform happen. As things stand, the customer experience of online government services can fall short of expectations. And unlike in the private sector, our customers can't simply opt to go somewhere else. That's why people now expect and demand that the government acts more like a modern, fully digitally enabled service provider. We've made some really good strides in the last few years in the way we publish government information and signpost services. Moving from over 2,000 separate, disconnected websites to a single gov.uk website has been a very important and incredibly invaluable achievement, as we've seen during the pandemic. At the moment, there are many ways to sign on to different government services. Too often, users have to enter the same data again and again, and we know how frustrating that is. Our vision is for members of the public to be able to access any online central government service simply, safely, and securely using a single sign-on. When necessary to prove your identity, it should be as easy as possible without re-entering information. Over time, we want to create new and innovative services, as well as improve the quality and efficiency of the services we deliver. It may also open the door to personalisation, where those users who want can be alerted to changes which might affect them. I recognise that creating a single sign-on is going to be a really complex task, and I'm alive to concerns about privacy. So that's why I want to engage early in this area as we go on this journey, so we can make sure there's a robust consent-based approach. But the key point and core principle is user control. We want to work towards a state where data use in government is set up to ensure that people, when they choose to, don't need to restate their data on repeat occasions to different parts of government. Instead, data can be accessed, verified, and stored when appropriate in order to provide a proactive and low-friction service to the user. To help deliver on our vision, we need to work across departments to improve data sharing. The future of digital government is joined-up government, so we need a framework and infrastructure that allows the more effective sharing of trusted data. A genuinely joined-up cross-government approach is going to be a fundamental shift. Departments' traditional responsibilities and accountabilities have often resulted in service-centred rather than user-centred solutions. That's meant pretty good experiences for users making single specific transactions online. But the disconnect between these different services has led to disjointed decision-making, inefficiencies, and lost opportunities for a greater user experience. That's why we're putting in place the right organisational structures and levers and addressing legacy IT issues that will enable us to deliver the improvements that we all want to see. For example, we've decided to divide and conquer by making a machinery of government change. Responsibility for government data now sits with GDS and the Cabinet Office. This will help it to be used more effectively to inform policymakers and help design and deliver better services to the public. DCMS will focus on how data can help boost the digital economy more widely and look at how the government and the private sector might work together for the benefit of our citizens, such as the work we're doing through our current document checking service pilot to improve the way people can safely and easily confirm specific information online, such as for a passport or a mortgage application. Much of what we want to do now and in the future is held back by current structures and systems, and that clearly includes moving beyond legacy IT and getting government departments and agencies into the cloud. We hope a new procurement strategy and different thinking on what services UK tech firms might provide might open up exciting new opportunities to smaller, bespoke operators. Getting under the car bonnet of government is never the most glamorous job, but if you want a smooth-running, well-oiled machine that can help you change gear and accelerate towards a destination you want, it's absolutely vital. That means we really need the right leadership. We need the right driver. You'll know that the recruitment is underway for a Government Chief Digital Officer. The deadline for applications is fast approaching, so I wanted finally to highlight the importance that I and other ministers attach to this permanent secretary level role. This new and unique role comes at a critical time for our country. Since a similar post was advertised last autumn, we're in a very, very different place. As a government, we have a new mandate following the election. That gives us the means as well as the ambition to deliver real reform and give the new Government Chief Digital Officer the teeth, tools, and total commitment to do the job. And also, the pandemic has been a complete game changer. They say necessity is the mother of invention. Well, the pandemic has shown us that in spades. It's put rocket boosters under our ambitions. It's not only continued to shift the public's attitude about online services, it's blown away barriers that have held us back in the past and created the will among departments and the most senior leaders to sort this area of government out. There's now an exciting window of opportunity for the right person to help us seize this once-in-a-generation moment for radical reform. This is one of the largest IT roles in the world, but it's not just a technocratic position. It's about fundamentally helping improve the daily lives of millions of people. The last few months have brought home just how important digital is as an empowering and liberating force for good. This role is an opportunity to embed that force for good across government and to improve the accessibility of services that millions of people rely on. My message to those of you in the tech world who think you might fit the bill is your government and your country needs you. So far from being cowed by the crisis, we are fired up, even more determined to deliver ambitious changes that will deliver strength, efficiency, effectiveness, and resilience of online government services. Thank you to Tech UK for the expert analysis and recommendations you've provided to help inform the direction and debate within government. We really look forward to continuing to work closely with you as we build the digital capabilities, skills, and infrastructure we need across government. By doing so, we can ensure the UK harnesses the full power of digital, data, and technology, and we realise our vision to put people more in control and at the centre of the government services they use. Thank you very much.
Minister, thank you very much for that speech. If I'd sort of tried to write the speech that the industry would like to hear, it would have sounded very, very much like the speech you've given. And I think we should all be really encouraged by that. And I'd like to maybe just highlight 2 or 3 of the things you've said, which we absolutely echo. The first is the fact that there's been a change in the approach and the willingness to use digital public services, not just by government colleagues who've achieved so much, as you said, and the examples you gave are absolutely fantastic examples of scale and speed, but also we've done surveys and we've seen a couple of surveys which really show, first of all, the public appetite for consuming public services digitally has gone up enormously, and the desire for them to have more of that is clearly there. And it is not, often in the past, people have said, yes, but what about older people? Well, we did a survey with one of our members this summer, and it showed that the older people are very much into digital technology. You know, obviously they've used it, the classic grandparents talking to grandchildren who they couldn't physically meet up with. But every single part of that, we've done a survey that shows that people over 70 are just as likely to use digital technology to access services. I think the second thing I'd really like to pick up on is your commitment to data and to interoperability and to digital identity. These are things that are going to be the key to actually unlocking all of the things you've talked about and highlighted so effectively. And then lastly, of course, the desire by our industry, and particularly through Tech UK members, to work with public sector colleagues as a team, a single team, that we can actually help deliver these fantastic changes. And lastly, just the appetite that you all show in government for not just resting on what are considerable laurels, because public service has done very well in many areas during the crisis, but actually to build even more and to improve and to really put the UK even further ahead in terms of digital public service delivery. So thank you very much, Minister. I look forward to working with you. We all stand ready to do it. And I think what we'll now go into is actually some more specifics on exactly what can we do, where can we help, and how can things improve even better. So Without further ado, thank you very much, Minister. You may have to go now. I know you don't have time for questions, and I know also that you're keen to get interaction. So we will act as a conduit both ways going forward.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Minister.